He told me not to embarrass him. Right there, while adjusting his cufflinks before the charity gala, he said it like he was ordering wine. "Stay quiet tonight, Elise. Don't try to talk to my colleagues. You're too plain for this crowd." I remember the way he looked at me, polished, detached, proud of what he thought he owned. I smiled. Not the kind that reaches the eyes, the kind that conceals. "Sure," I said. He kissed my cheek like a businessman closing a deal. He didn't notice my reflection in the mirror behind him. I wasn't angry, I was calculating. Before the silence. I met Adrian 8 years ago. He was magnetic in the way confident men often are, dangerous without appearing so. Back then, I was building a small design firm. He was already a senior executive at a finance company. He told me he admired women with ambition. I believed him. For a while, it was true. We were a team. He'd stay up with me while I drew sketches for clients. I'd pack his bag before early meetings. He used to call me his quiet brilliance. Then success changed its language. He started using words like leverage and image in our marriage. He wanted me to dress a certain way, laugh softer, speak less. He said it was strategic. For him, I mean. I told myself that's what love looked like when you shared a life with a man who worshipped status. Until I found the lipstick. It was a coral shade I'd never wear. I found it in the passenger seat of his car, a small, careless mistake. He was always meticulous. That's what made the mistake so loud. I didn't confront him, not immediately. Instead, I waited, watched, learned. Adrian was predictable in his arrogance. He always left a trail for someone who knew where to look. His late nights became longer. His phone never left his hand. Once, he came home smelling faintly of someone else's perfume, floral, expensive, unfamiliar. When I finally confirmed it, a string of messages on his iPad synced accidentally. I didn't cry. The messages weren't romantic. They were strategic. He called her an asset. He was grooming her for advancement, both professionally and personally. I remember standing there, screen glowing in the dark kitchen, thinking how small he'd made me feel all those years. And then, I decided, he'd never get that chance again. The shift. Adrian believed he married beneath his potential. He wasn't entirely wrong. I did play small, but not out of ignorance, out of patience. While he climbed his corporate ladder, I quietly expanded my design firm. He didn't care to know what I did. He liked thinking my little business was a hobby. That blindness was my first advantage. Over 2 years, I acquired shares, discreetly, in several properties and businesses his company used for entertainment. One of them was the Sterling Club, the private club he adored, where he entertained clients and colleagues, where women like me were expected to stay in their lane. Through a network of silent partners, I became the club's largest investor. By the time his name was added to the waiting list, I already owned the walls he worshipped. The plan unfolds. When he told me about the upcoming networking dinner at the club, where, of course, I wasn't invited, I said the same word I always did. Sure. That night, I didn't wear coral lipstick. I wore black. Simple, elegant, deliberate. As I walked into the Sterling Club, the staff stood straighter. The manager greeted me with respect. They knew who I was. He didn't. Not yet. Adrian was at a long table with his colleagues, the kind of men who laugh too loud to hide their insecurities. He didn't see me at first. He was too busy performing. Then he looked up, and his world stilled. The color drained from his face. He stood, half smiling, trying to process what he was seeing. "Elise," he said, disbelief softening his arrogance. "What are you doing here?" I let him squirm a moment before I answered. "I wanted to make sure everything was running smoothly tonight," I said. His confusion deepened. Running smoothly? The manager approached then, addressing me as Mrs. Quinn. "Your guests are welcome to stay as long as you wish," he said. Adrian blinked. "Mrs. Quinn?" I turned to him, smiled. "Yes, as in owner." You could have heard the ice in his glass crack. His colleagues, his friends, shifted, exchanging glances. One of them stood and offered his hand to me, respectfully. Another called me ma'am. Adrian sat back down slowly, trying to maintain his dignity, but it was already gone. He looked at me like a man realizing too late he'd underestimated the wrong opponent. The fallout. A week later, I filed for divorce. By then, the lawyers had already moved. The properties, the accounts, everything tied to my investments was protected. Adrian's reputation took the hit he feared most. His colleagues distanced themselves. His promotion vanished. He called me once. He didn't apologize. Men like him rarely do.